Welcome to another Art's Kitchen. I'm Art. Today I'm going to be making my award-winning Pico de Gallo recipe that I won an award back in, I think it was 2005 at a place that I worked at back in Maine. And I won a day off. Wow, would be. But a lot of times I do make this for my coworkers, and even the ones that I dislike, I kind of have a secret recipe for that one as well, and I'll show you both of them. Coming right up. Let's go.
The easiest way to do this is to have a food processor. If you don't have a food processor, usually those little hand chop machines work. I think they usually sell them on usually at Walmart or either a store that sells basic kitchen supplies. What you're going to need. You're going to need some cilantro. We're not going to use all of it because that's a lot. I use serranos. They're not as spicy. It's kind of a crapshoot. Sometimes they're hot, sometimes they're not. One whole onion. I use 4 Roma tomatoes. 2 cloves of garlic. Got about probably about a teaspoon of ground pepper and white vinegar as well. This acts as kind of a preservative. If you can leave it in your refrigerator, I usually throw that in first. That's about 2 tablespoons. Then the pepper. Now we're going to cut up the onion. If you really want to have fun with your coworkers, these little tiny chilies, and I can't remember the name of them, they usually come in Asian dishes, and they're really, really hot. If you're cutting them and you touch your skin, like if you rub your eye, don't do that because you'll end up in the hospital. So here we go. Actually, we're going to start off with the garlic. We're going to go ahead and start off with the garlic. I usually cut them off and put them in a press. Let's get that out of the way. Yeah, I won an award at a place that I worked at. We had a kind of like a salsa challenge, and I came up with this recipe after a couple of failed attempts. One was just way too hot, and the other one was not as hot. So I kind of played with it a bit and came up with this one. Usually I just throw the whole thing of garlic in there. I sometimes used to put it in a food press beforehand, but the machine does everything for me, so it's easier that way. Now we're just going to take the whole tomato. Excuse me, tomato. Wow, I've only had one beer. I'm going to take the whole onion, cut off the root ends, cut it in half, take off the outer skin. I usually like to help the machine with the bigger pieces like so. Normally, because if you put this whole thing in there, it won't get a good grind on it. You'll have large chunks left over, and who wants that? I mean, I don't. Do you? I normally cut it in fourths. First in half, then in fourths. So I'm going to keep this piece out. That looks like I'm going to keep like a half of that out. That looks like a little bit too much onion in there. And then throw in the tomatoes. Just cut off the ends completely. Half them. Throw them in. I usually use, for this small machine, about 3½. I think 3 is going to be good for this one. These are pretty good sized tomatoes. Usually they come a little smaller, sometimes. Now the serranos. Just going to cut off the ends, like so. Cut in half, throw them in, and then we're going to go ahead and I'm not going to use the whole of it. I usually just like cut off maybe about that much. It's about, I'd say 3 good tablespoons of it. 2½. 2.5 to 3 tablespoons.
Since this is kind of a Mexican dish, this Art's Kitchen is brought to you by Corona, brewed somewhere in Mexico, not sure where. It is, I think, 4.7% alcohol per volume. Usually goes good with either a lemon wedge or a lime wedge, which I forgot to buy at the store. But I like it plain. Don't drink and drive. Don't be a dick, alright?
So there's everything you got in there, and I bought this back in like 2003, 2004 for $5 at a Walmart on Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, and it was the only thing that I bought there, believe it or not. So here we go. We just want to pulse it a bit. I don't leave it on for too long. That's good enough. You want to pour this in a bowl or a container. I always take the blades out, of course, because they're a pain to work with. And here we go. This makes about almost about 2 cups. 2 to 3 cups of Pico de Gallo. It's not spicy. Well, it all depends on what chilies you use. So you can use habaneros for hotter stuff, or jalapenos, or get some of that ghost chili. That'll really wow them. But like I said before, these little Chinese chilies, they're deadly. Be careful. And there you go. That's it. That's my award-winning Pico de Gallo recipe. I'm going to go ahead and have a taste of them.
Not that hot, just a tad. But you can omit them if you don't like really spicy stuff. Don't use them. Okay, now it's kicking in. Yeah, it's not that bad. I'd say probably about a 6. 1 to 10, 10 being the hottest. Yeah, about a 6. So there you have it. That's my award-winning recipe, and that's probably the shortest Art's Kitchen that you've ever going to see. I hope. Don't forget to leave a comment below and subscribe on YouTube or on my Facebook, Art's Kitchen. And if you want the recipe, or if you want it written down, rewind the tape and watch this again. Alright? Thanks for watching. Bye now.